Okay, welcome. So we've just started our class. Today we'll be talking about steps on how to make a good work presentation and how to present to a specific group. It depends who it is, things like that. So that's the topic of today. And so Ken, being the only student here, I must have that in Spanish, you will get to read everything I have. So let me go ahead and share. I have two documents if needed today. One we've already done, but it's just to remind everyone. So let me share this, and you should see it. Fantastic. Okay. So these are just things that I have come up with that I think are very important. Okay. And thank you, Ken, for sharing our class on Facebook. So what I want to do is just start out with the basics. That's the first thing. You know, your boss will give you a topic, or you will have to think of a topic. Excuse me. And so from there, you kind of have to do some research. So would you please read everything you see on this page, please?
Okay. Know your topic. Make sure you know your topic well. That way the audience will believe you and your presentation. Memorize your presentation if possible.
And I'll put a period there. Okay, good. So this is the basic, okay? You need to think of what the actual topic is. Is it a new product? Is it something you're developing? Is it something that exists and that you have to, you know, discuss with another group of people? What is the topic? So it totally depends on what you're doing here, okay? That's the first step. But know your topic, research, do, you know, too much research, know the product from head to toe, we say, even though if it's an object, from head to toe, you know, everything. So when you are asked questions, you aren't as nervous and you know what to say, okay? Ken, do you have any questions about this? I mean, this is relatively simple. That's the first step, but, or anything to add?
Memorize the presentation is maybe how can I say, making a card or a small card or something. Maybe not to memorize all of the words like you know, like a script. Maybe I making a small card to the point. I mean,
like
point.
Yeah, we call that a cheat sheet. Sometimes they're like just a little like index card with information on it. And I think that's perfectly fine. You know, if you're doing a slideshow, for example, every slide have a specific card, so it's easy to manage. You don't get lost. It depends on the presentation too. It depends what you're talking about. I know, for example, those TED Talks, they memorize word for word, and you know, it can take them up to 6 months to memorize. So again, it actually depends on what you're doing. I think it's perfectly fine for information, you know, stats or statistics. Absolutely. You know, oh, in 2004, this happened. In 2005, it went up or down. So obviously, yes, you can't memorize everything, but depending on what it is, the majority of the presentation should be memorized. That way it also looks like you're very prepared, okay? So, I mean, maybe your boss says, hey, you have to do a presentation tomorrow about this. And you're like, oh, okay. You still need to make it look like you did this a long time ago, that it's very well prepared. So, good. Any other comments? Have you ever had to do like a big presentation or important presentation about anything?
Yes, and also I took some presentation class, and I noticed, you know, not only making small cards, but also PowerPoint slides can be such a cheat card, because usually I summarize my point on my PowerPoint slide. So nowadays, I think, yeah, maybe PowerPoint slides can be used as a cheat card.
Absolutely. Well, and then I was thinking here, oh, there's some notes that I wanted to add to say during this, and I didn't want to say, ask them other ways too. That's a bit obvious, but yeah, you should always have, a piece of paper, something there with you, because some people are getting nervous, and that's another thing I have here on different ways on how not to be nervous, but so we'll get to that. So for now, what we can do is move down, and this word gravitas, I'm pretty sure no one's ever heard of it. I shouldn't say it like that. It's a new word for me in the past year, okay? It's because of something I saw. It's actually from a TED Talk, and it's really interesting. It's about how to be a leader or how to be a confident leader, something like that. And so they talk about the word gravitas, and it's a very difficult concept to understand. So Ken, if you want, read what you see here, and there's a tiny bit more here. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and read everything, okay?
Okay. Voice sound confident. Know who you are talking to. This way you can use the correct language, formal, informal. Know who you are talking to. What
Yes, let's
they
repeat it.
what they need, want to know. Poise, posture. How do you look? Slouching, standing straight. Where appropriate
Good. So all of this is within the word gravitas. Gravitas means all of this. Okay, it's your voice. Do you sound confident when speaking? Are you? Well, in 2007, our company. Don't do that. You want to sound confident. If you believe in yourself, they will believe in you. You can lie to them as long as you sound confident. Okay, not that you should lie, but I'm just saying. So that's the first thing of gravitas. Again, here, know who you're talking to. If you're talking to very important people in your business, people who are in a higher level position than you need to use more formal language. If they're your colleagues, if they're a team, or they're people you work with on a daily basis, you can use more informal. Okay, so that definitely depends on the greetings you use, the things you say, the words you choose. Okay, so that affects everything. And then again, know who you're talking to. What are they looking for? What do they need to know? What do you think they want to know? Okay, about maybe this new project, this new system, whatever this new thing is, okay, or this idea. So that's part of gravitas as well. Poise. Poise means your posture, basically. Poise is just kind of, I don't think it's very formal, but it's not very common either. So poise, your posture, do you stand up straight? Okay, are you slouching is the opposite of standing up straight. That's when your neck is kind of bent a little, okay? And I wanted to put that word in for vocabulary. It's a great vocabulary word. A lot of us don't stand up straight, then we have neck and back problems. And so if you're slouching, you look kind of lazy, you look too comfortable. No. A meeting or a presentation is important. You need to look good. Okay, so stand up straight, basically. All right, and then wear appropriate clothing. Okay, if you're going to be inside, probably, it's best to wear darker colors, not to, wear something that's very bright colors like yellow or orange. It's not appropriate for a business setting, okay? Depending on the product as well, maybe it's a clothing product, maybe you wear that. Or maybe it's a t-shirt or a shirt that represents your company, or it's just a plain white shirt that you use for work. It just depends. It's very important, and that's all part of gravitas as well. Okay. Ken, do you have any questions?
Maybe slouching. I didn't get the exact image of slouching.
Okay. Well, then maybe I can stop sharing for a second. So When I teach, I normally am straight like this. Slouching would be something like this, where you can tell that, you know, my back is not straight, or it's just kind of like, you know, you're not like standing up completely straight. Even though I'm sitting up straight. That's your posture. You want to look kind of more formal, more prepared, something like that, okay?
So you usually,
slouching.
yeah, maybe it's not for the presentation, usually.
Right, slouching is for your house. That's you need to not slouch during presentations. So let me share my screen again and we'll get back to that presentation. I had a feeling I was going to have to show you, but yeah. How do you look? So slouching, yes, of course, is negative here. We do not want to slouch, okay? That's good. And then clothing. Clothing should be pretty obvious. Obviously, not just your clothing, but it's your hair. If it's women seem to have a lot of problems with makeup because obviously men don't wear makeup normally. Women sometimes, in politics at least, like, oh, did you see her makeup? Oh, she shouldn't have worn that color. So you need to be careful with that too, so they don't judge you and things. And so that's kind of something else, but just neutral, okay? You don't want anything too, we say flashy. Let me write that. Flashy is something that's very like, whoa, you know, like, whoa, gets your attention, and you don't want that. So no flashy. There's it. Yeah. Okay. So don't be flashy. Good. Any other comments, questions, Ken?
Yeah, sometimes, you know, the people, how can I say, sometimes people put the hand inside the pocket. And do you think it's good or not good, or case by case?
I think, yeah, it depends on the situation, because if you're comfortable with the crowd, then you might do it naturally. But I wouldn't leave it in your pocket for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, put it in there, you know, talk with your other hand, move your other hand, use gestures, and take it out. So I think to rest your hand, sure, it's okay. But again, don't do it for a long time, otherwise you look bored and uninterested. We don't want that. One hand should always be holding something. If it's the microphone, or so the microphone, the index cards, maybe a pointer, like a laser pointer, if you want to really focus on, look at this part of, maybe it's a car, for example. Okay, look at the wheels, look at the tires, look at different parts. Then you could have a laser pointer as well, so things are more clear. But I think one hand should be out of the pocket, moving, or having something in this hand, in your hand at all times. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
And this is basically from the United States. Here in Spain, I'm guessing it might be something similar. But so yeah. So not too much. You don't want to move your hand and use too many gestures either. So you kind of have to find the middle ground, we say. Middle ground. Not too much and not too little, which actually might be. Nope, that's not my next one. So we'll see that in a little bit. The not too much and not too little. Okay, but 50-50. All right. So the next one here is control your nerves. What I might do is just bring that up and put this down a bit. Okay, so nerves. Obviously, when you're nervous, and that's it. All right, so it's very difficult, and so it's something that you need to be prepared for. So try not to be nervous. You know, get a lot of sleep the next day or the day before. Maybe have a coffee before the presentation, but not too close, so you're talking so fast. You want to speak clearly. Okay. So Ken, why don't you actually read this for us, okay?
Control your nerves. try not to be nervous, but we know most people are, when speaking in public, reading, knowing what you're going to say will help you.
Okay, good. Okay. So again, this is kind of the memorize, rehearse, remember, have a lot of information about the product, idea, etc. This will help you not be so nervous. Okay. The whole thing, I don't know if they say this in Japan, but in the United States, they say, what is it? Imagine everyone else in their underwear, so then you feel not as embarrassed or nervous. And I just think that's terrible because I think it's hard to do it to begin with. But no, you need to be confident first. And I think if you're confident in what you're speaking about, maybe you won't be as nervous. I think anyone speaking in front of a group of people of 20 or more would be quite nervous. I don't like to be the center of attention, so I definitely don't, want that. I don't know. I wouldn't like to do it, and I'm sure I could be speaking to probably 1,000 people at this exact moment, but eventually, because this is going to be a video, so this is a little different. There's not the same pressure of I see everyone who I'm talking to or who will be listening. So this is a bit different. So questions or comments here, Ken? Anything that any tips that you have? Is there anything in Japan that you maybe say about this?
Japanese thing said maybe to write character means people on the hand and swallow it or something. Try to mimic swallow it. That's a kind of not a proverb, but anyway, the famous custom not to be nervous. And also, how can I say? Maybe eye contact is maybe I read a book about eye contact in West and East. So maybe Japanese speaker sometimes doing not so strong eye contact to the audience, probably.
Well, sorry, continue.
It's up to the person, but in general, maybe also, as you mentioned, about less body language gesture than maybe Spanish speakers, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and actually, instead of maybe looking at people in the eyes, they say look at different parts of the room, maybe in the back corner, in the right corner, back center, and back left corner. So it looks like you're looking at everyone, however, you're not. And so that's kind of another way that you can get through that. You don't want to stare at the presentation the whole time because you're speaking to them. They can see the presentation perfectly. So that's important. Okay, so good. Yeah, actually, that's a really good tip to help you not be nervous. Also, some people might drink a relaxing tea, like chamomile tea or something like that before. I don't think, honestly, for me, I personally don't think it would work. If I'm nervous, I'm nervous, and that's it. And again, not drink too much coffee because caffeine can make you jittery, which means you're moving around and things like that, and then you speak faster. And when we're nervous, we speak faster anyway, so we don't need anything else to do that.
Maybe the after the enough rehearsal or practice, just let it be or let it go is good. Because when the presentation starts, maybe my mode changes to the presentation mode automatically, even though I'm nervous. Yeah.
Exactly. So very good. Other ways to calm your nerves. Do you get nervous? When do I get nervous? I don't think I really get nervous anymore. I mean, I speak to people on a regular basis. I can speak to a classroom of people that's 10 to 12 people, no problem, because I'm confident in what I'm doing. I know grammar, in English. I know vocabulary. I know what I'm teaching. And I think that's part of it. And the other thing is, like, why be nervous? I mean, they're obviously there for a specific reason. So yeah, I don't know. Don't be nervous. Ken, you said you teach, right?
Oh, yeah.
And do you get nervous?
Yeah, for my teaching practice, I was nervous. Yeah.
Okay,
But,
that's normal. Yeah.
yeah. But maybe mature teacher, yeah, teach naturally actually. Because, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when I attended the online class for the first time, I was very nervous. But now I don't feel such a pressure. So because
Right.
I know, yeah, what it is or what's gonna happen or yeah. Also, I get
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
And that comes with experience too, again, and that's part of being prepared. The more experience you have, the easier it is. And for
Right.
me, for example, in any new class I start, I'm never nervous. It's always the same thing. Okay, let's find out their level, what they need, what they want. Are they doing an exam? Which exam? So I have this experience. I have over 5 years of experience now built up.
Mhm.
Different things, if it's grammar, vocabulary, etc. I mean, I've done all kinds of different classes. And so I'm never nervous. Now, if someone gets me in the middle of class, which happens here, and they're like, oh, what's this answer? Like, moments like that, I'll admit now. Before I used to say, oh, no, I know what this is. It's because of this. And now if hi, Rafa, someone gets me in the moment, like, ooh, that's a good question. So, you have to play along and you have to kind of be funny at the same time. Rafa, welcome to class today. Nice to see you again. Rafa, I can't hear you if you are talking, but we are talking about how to give a good presentation. We just talked about being nervous, so don't be nervous. And sometimes it's just taking a very deep breath before you start. Just like, okay, I'll be fine. You just have to do it. So I think it has a lot to do with your attitude as well. Okay. Yeah, type to you. Okay. Good. Well, let me go down to the next one. Actually, Rafa, if possible, there's the not too much and not too little. Okay. So number 4, Rafa, are you there? Are you able to read for us today? Doesn't sound like it. Ken, if you would be so nice and read to get to know your surroundings.
Okay. If you can check out the site where the meeting will take place, that way it will be more familiar and you might be less nervous.
Exactly. Now, this again depends. Oh, Rafa left. This depends on the situation. Okay, if you, let's say, have to go to a business meeting in a different place, if it's a different city, country, etc., maybe you have to fly, you arrive the day of, get there as soon as possible. Okay, that will help you with your nerves as well. You won't be as nervous. Okay. So that's another good thing. If you can't, well, get there as soon as you can before. You should always arrive early just so that you are physically there. Maybe someone wants to talk to you prior to the presentation, or someone wants to meet you. There's a very important person, etc. So you should always, always, always arrive minimum 30 minutes before. I would say even an hour. And that's just to make sure that all of your equipment is set up. Technology is fantastic, but as we know, Rafa had a technology problem just now. It happens, okay? If it happens during the presentation, make a joke of it. It's okay. Okay? So you just want to be prepared. Everything is about preparation when you have a good presentation. So, Ken, anything to add here?
Yeah, to check technological issue is important because once I attended the meeting to introduce the other universities and for study abroad. But one university staff came to Japan for that purpose. But yeah, his DVD couldn't be played when the
Yep.
started. So I thought, oh, maybe to check such kind of equipment is important.
Exactly. And you should always have backup things, So plan B, plan C, and plan D probably, honestly, depending on how serious it is. I mean, if it's a conference call and you have to present something over the phone, you can't have any technology except for the telephone. So that's not a problem. But you should have maybe another phone just in case, a phone, etc. Or in real person, and when you're face to face with the audience, you need the presentation has to be interesting. So today I'm going to talk about a new product. The product we're going to be presenting will be launched in the next few months. Very, very boring. Let's use intonation. That again I will mention if I haven't. So it has to be interesting, and so you need, like I said, you need to be comfortable and confident. Those are the most important things so far that I can think are, in this presentation. So good. Let's move on. This one's a little bit longer, so we'll do this in 2 parts. Okay, so not too much and not too little. Actually, just let me see if I can back this up a bit so you can get that last sentence. Okay, not too much, not too little. So this is about you presenting this idea, etc. But, not leaving them with too many questions, but that they leave with intrigue. It's like, ooh, how would this work if? And so you kind of have to find that balance of not too much and not too little. So Ken, would you please read this for us?
Okay. When presenting a new idea or product, you must have enough information to explain it completely. When the presentation is over, you don't want the audience to be left with questions. Think of possible questions they might ask. Leave enough time at the end to allow the audience to ask questions, or let them know they can ask questions throughout presentation at the beginning.
Sorry, throughout the presentation. So good. So again, you don't want to leave them with too many questions, but you don't want to go into too many details that they are bored, because if it's new to them, they won't know all of the vocabulary that you are trying to talk about, and that's the boring part, okay? And about the questions, have them ask questions during the presentation. That will help you have this conversation. It's not just a monologue then, it's a dialogue, okay? And so while interacting with other people, that might help you with being nervous. Or they might ask you questions and you just say, well, that hasn't been developed at this time, or we're working on that aspect, we're trying to do this. So you can always say it's in the process of, being worked on or fixed or changed for some reason, okay? Any thoughts here, Ken? What do you think?
I think it maybe the questions too many questions during the presentation is not good. I experienced one audience or participant persistent question during the presentation. It hinges the presenters or audience concentration. Also, it too many questions guide the presentation topic out of the track. So I prefer question after the presentation, actually.
Okay, so they go off track is what you wanted to say. Exactly. That's actually a really good point. That's why I wanted, someone else or 2 or 3, 4 other people here to help me with other ideas, because I have my specific ideas and I think of specific moments. I think it's good to have limited questions, like you said, maybe during the presentation, or maybe they can write it down and then ask at the end, because the presenter can say, okay, so I'm sorry, we need to continue. Please reserve your questions for the end of the presentation. Okay, because there are sometimes, maybe it's like a couple days that you're in different meetings, you're looking at different products maybe to buy, and you have limited time, and that could also be the problem. And then maybe after you finish, then they can physically go up to you and ask their specific questions if they really want them answered. So yeah, so again, it does depend on the situation, and mainly this is what I'm thinking about, new products or something. Okay. So good, and there should be a little bit more here. Okay, good. Yep, here it is. So I'll read this. It's keep things short, sweet, and to the point. That's something I believe I've said here. Explain things enough that the audience will understand, but don't talk too long about a topic as it can get boring. Okay, so I did mention this already, and that's true, because if you start, oh, well, we do this, and then this part does that, and that part, works with this part, and that part works with this. Okay, nope, that's enough. We need the who, what, where, and why. Those are the most important questions when talking about a thing. Who is it for? What does it do? Who, what, where? Where, maybe it depends on what it is. Where can you use the product? Okay, and why? Why? What is it going to do for us? Okay, those to me are the most important questions. So to move on, okay, to use media. Ken, can you go ahead and talk to us about media, or read, I should say.
Okay, use different types of media: pictures, slide, show, presentation, a replica of the new product, etc. They want to be as interested in the project as you are, so allow them to be involved. Also, ask them questions to keep them interested.
Good. Okay, so again, it obviously depends on the situation. Did you want to say something? Ken, any comments?
No, I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Good. I mean, obviously it depends. If it's a phone presentation or a phone conference, you obviously can't do that, but you can always send maybe an email prior to the meeting and say, these are the points that I'm going to talk about. Please write down any questions before, and then we can talk about them during the meeting. Okay. You can also send pictures of maybe the product, if that's what it is. I think a slideshow presentation, aka PowerPoint, aka. And I think that's honestly the best way, because if you need to go back to something, I mean, this presentation, what I have here is a little bit boring. It's like up and down, which is fine for what we need for this, but it could be more interesting. So I should have thought a little bit better about this, but but that's what happens. Okay, so again, get them involved. Maybe hand them something, or think of an example that you can relate or connect to this system or whatever you're presenting. Okay, get them thinking, get them involved, because then they'll be more interested in the whatever you're talking about. Again, it depends. Okay, and again, the questions you can say at the beginning or during, that's up to you. Next, I want to talk about, that didn't go where I wanted it to. Let's hope that everything's okay. Okay, anyway, so practice. So Ken, can you read this for us, please?
Rehearse your speech as much as possible without making it unrehearsed. Use intonation to keep the audience interested.
So this is, it goes back to, I think it was the first part of memorizing. Okay, so you can memorize, but you can memorize with intonation, because again, as my example before was, we're here today to talk about a new product. If you don't use intonation, it's so boring and everyone will be asleep by the time you finish. You can't have that. You're representing your company, your department, and you need to be fantastic at what you're doing. So rehearse it as much as possible. What I tell people here when they have an exam and they have to talk about a specific topic is to talk about it in many different ways. Never say it the exact same way every time, because that's when you start memorizing. So you want to paraphrase or say basically this, something, but not so much that it sounds recorded. Okay. And that's the biggest thing is, recordings are basically very dull, very uninteresting, and it's monotone. It's just the same, which anyone literally would fall asleep. So, have you ever had to do like a big presentation? I mean, not just teach in front of a class, but a big presentation that, you had to rehearse and almost memorize?
Almost memorize, maybe no, but I rehearsed. I experienced 2 online presentations before, and it's easy to. It was recorded. It was available online. So after the first presentation, I reviewed the recording, and I realized, I was too nervous. So the second presentation, I would rehearse more. Also, I pretend to be relaxed.
Yeah. Okay.
Nervous. So yeah, I think such things. Also, online presentation. I don't see the audience actually, but every time I ended the presentation, I would be glad the answer, the questions, audience question. But unless the audience is persistently asking about the, how can I say, a negative feedback. Yeah, sometimes one audience dominates the question time to ask a lot of negative feedback. So that's the kind of, how can I say, difficult situation I faced. But other things, question is great because, if people ask me a question, which means people listen to my presentation. So yeah, it would be great for me to answer.
Okay, good. Yeah, like you said, pretend to be relaxed. That's the difficult part. But yeah, just practice. Like I said, if you're prepared for the presentation, you shouldn't be that nervous.
Yeah.
And that, just be comfortable. You know this topic. They don't know the topic. And like I said, if it's a new product, you can just say, we're working on that. We're looking into that. And so you don't have to answer everything, especially if you don't know the answers, and especially if that's it. Like they're literally working on it still. So, then there's many other parts to this. Like, who do you market to? Who do you bring to the meeting? Lots of different things. And so this is just in general for a lot of different things, a lot of different presentations in different ways. So let's go here. Oh, I don't like this. Let's move you down. Oh, I do like that. Oh, that's not going to work then. So revise your presentation, okay? So I'll read this. It says, make sure that the presentation is correct. Spelling, punctuation, information, etc. Small details are important. Double check the colors you used. Make sure they coincide with your topic. And there was one time that I had done a presentation about colors and what colors represent. And so that's what I'm referring to here. Is it's quite important to use specific colors, okay? Ken, any comments here about revising? I think it's just important, to make sure everything's correct.
Yeah.
No comments?
I think, yeah, I think so. Spell check and colors important. Yes. Sometimes not only the psychological effects. Sometimes, the color color makes the letters more visual or less visual. So using
They might pop
more
out,
visual background color better in my
Exactly. Well, good. And actually, let me just do that one very quick. So let me stop this screen share, and I'm going to, hi again, try and screen share the other one. There it is. And I have it here right in the colors, okay? So I just want to go over very quickly before we finish these colors, okay? So warm colors is energy, should be used for small parts in the ads. Okay, yeah, this is all about advertising, okay? There might be too much for the public if there are lots of these colors, best for attracting younger people. So these colors here might be good for children, okay? Or like I said, something that's not too crazy of a color, okay, but still gets the attention of other people. Okay. Okay, the next one here is the blue tones. These are cold, bright colors. We think of fresh. A spa normally uses these colors. It's good for cosmetic things, businesses such as the hairdresser, salons, spas, etc. Health professional situations. Okay. And now you don't have to follow these guidelines. Maybe one of these colors is your favorite color in the world. You want your business to be involved with that color. Yeah, fine, do it. But these are just in general, okay? And then looking at cold, dark colors, we talk about stability and quality, okay? They're also often used with ads involving the government, product, computers, cars, or computer products, cars, etc. Okay, it's a little bit more serious, okay, I'd say, than the other colors that we've seen. Now, warm and dark colors are used for luxury and relaxation, okay? Colors are calming for the onlooker. The onlooker is the person looking at the ad. They have a modern and classic feel. Good businesses to use these colors are finance, banks, oops, looks like it's on the next page. Architecture, due to the wood. The wood is obviously brown. Homes, structures. What's wrong with this? And structures. Consulting, like psychologists and therapists. Okay, so this is also more serious, kind of relaxing, but solid. I mean, these are very solid colors like wood. And so that's what this is kind of representing. Then we get to the neutral colors, and that's why I have these two pictures here. One with hello with a white background, and then hello with the black background. You can tell that there's quite a difference here. Hello with the black background really pops, as we say, pops, okay? So neutral colors are helpful when you want to emphasize something. Okay, any type of business could use a neutral color to get people's attention. Subject matter isn't important here, okay? And I think that's the last, yep, and that goes into a different step. So I just wanted to mention this about colors again, because it is important as well, the colors that you choose, okay? So I think that's it for today. Ken, do you have anything else to talk about? Anything, any suggestions?
How can I ask? How can I the correction time, and how can I ask the audience about do you have a correction or?
Well, you can say at the end of the presentation, you can easily go to them and say, okay, and now we have the next 20 minutes for questions. Now, if no one has questions, that's good and bad. That means you've either answered all of their questions or they weren't paying attention maybe, and so they don't have any questions. And so what you can do at that point is maybe if you have business cards, you can go around and give them business cards. You can say, okay, well, we have snacks and refreshments over here if you're hungry, or I would say maybe on one of the, if you do a slide presentation at the end, you can put your name, your contact information, or your company, someone else as well. I think you can do that. But it's definitely an awkward situation if people are like, oh yeah, we're done, we don't have any questions. So trying to avoid that awkward silence by having a plan B, like, well, in that case, that's no problem. I'll hand out my business cards, or my business cards are on the table over here if you'd like to grab one before you leave. To contact me with any question you might have, or if you're interested in knowing more about this topic, etc. So you can also stop it if there aren't any questions. But yeah, you can obviously say right at the end, okay, now we can say the floor is open for questions. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Okay. See.
So directly, there's no like, oh well, does anyone have any questions? No, directly. Who's got questions? What can I answer? Let's go. So have that upbeat attitude and really kind of have them challenge you, I guess. So in that way, you can always go back to different slides if necessary. Again, you can have the product in hand, something like that. So you need to reinforce and have a lot of support there, and reasons, details, etc. for it to be successful, okay?
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, I think we finished for today. I think we did pretty well today, Ken. Thanks for joining. And everyone else who's watching, whenever you watch, today or in 6 months, etc. And that's it. So I hope that everyone has a great day. It's a beautiful, hot, sunny day in Spain. And so hopefully I will see you all on Wednesday. The class is about fulfilling your dreams and how we can achieve goals. So it's a very positive, uplifting class, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Ken. And we'll see all of you soon. So have a great day. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.